This is Monty with Bill Brothers, starting my digital inspection. We're at a property in the Poway area, and for these inspection videos, we always like to start underneath the eaves just to get an idea of the condition of the wood. Now, the eaves consist of, we have the fascia board, we have the rafter tails, and then we have the starter boards. And not really seeing too much wood rot underneath here. So the eaves look pretty good. Now, what we're looking at here is a concrete S-tile roof. There is bird stop, there is drip edge, but it looks like the felt paper is actually sticking out here. So definitely an installation error. This should not be sticking out, but you can see, you know, this definitely isn't the original roof. This house was built in 1980s, so has been updated since. Taking a look at the wall, right, we have mortar, and starting to see that mortar begin to crack a little bit, and then when that happens, these tiles begin to slip and leave this area vulnerable, right? So moving on to the top here, we do have a solar system on here, and then we also have pool solar on the back. What I went ahead and did is pull this tile just a little bit, just so we can see the condition of that felt paper underlayment, right? That's going to be the key to the waterproofing capability of this roof. And you can see a bunch of dirt and debris underneath here, and you can see, you know, a little bit of water has been allowed entry. We do have some mastic repair, you know, scattered throughout, but a couple fundamental errors that I noticed I wanted to point out on this. So we do have replacement tiles, but basically what the previous roofer did is they stretched these tiles. So in order to use less tile when re-roofing this, they actually pulled these out. So what we see here is exposed nail heads, right? We have exposed nails right here, all throughout here on this row. And then we also see the same thing on the back as well, right? We have a couple cracked tiles here and there. But moving on, so you can see the pool solar, and the homeowner is actually having an active leak right around the chimney, and my guess is going to be coming from right here, right? So as I stated earlier, they actually stretch these tiles, and that's why each one of these nails isn't flush underneath each tile, or underneath the course of beforehand. So you see a leak coming from this pool solar, and then it's getting right into that nail hole right here. So that's my guess as to where they're getting the leak, right? We have a couple slip tiles over here as well. But I went ahead and pulled this down a little bit, and I want to show you that the water staining is getting up and under here, right? So water is getting access up and under these tiles, right? And you can see that this, you know, felt paper isn't, you know, too old, right? Still has some granular consistency to the touch, but water has been allowed access under here. And again, this is from an unprofessional install. And again, we see more water coming from the pool solar up here. So again, that just shows us, right, the condition of the felt paper underlayment is, you know, in somewhat fair condition. But when installed improperly, right, you're going to get premature leaking like we do now. And then another thing that is fundamentally wrong is the stagger on these tiles, right? We see the stagger, each seam is stacked right on top of each other, right? We're supposed to see a tile stagger like we do over here, right? You see that these aren't in a straight line, and they're actually spaced out. This is right on top of each other. So anytime it rains, that water is going to go straight down to that paper. So, you know, the felt paper that's underneath right now is going to get soaked anytime it rains. So moving on to the front part of the house. Another thing I noticed, this was completely open on the ridge line. So you see this ridge board is actually completely exposed. You can see a lot of water has been getting into this for quite some time, right? We have more mastic repair, and then around these penetrations, you can see these seals are actually broken open So on that heat vent that is open around these penetrations, these are starting to crack as well. And I'm gonna be careful. Oh, stepping over this. The valleys are actually nice and evenly spaced, so that's a good sign. This allows for proper water and debris flow, but this tile is actually slipped down, and I slipped it more down just to see that underlayment. Again, we see water staining on here, right? So this newer underlayment isn't going to last very long when installed improperly. So my recommendation, given the condition of the roof, right, and given its installation, I would totally recommend a full lift and reset. We want to make sure that this is properly installed, right? We don't want to stretch the tiles and then allow for those nails to be exposed, right? And in its current condition, you know, there's too many vulnerabilities to do or recommend a repair, right? I would recommend a full lift and reset, again, because of the quality of the installation, right? And this is going to continue to be an issue, right? We have a leak over in this area. Well, there's going to be more leaks to follow after that one. So that would be my recommendation. The tiles themselves are in good condition, right? They actually harden over time. So we want to reuse these tiles and then update that felt paper underlayment and make sure that these are properly installed, right? And we want to make sure these tiles are actually staggered, so they're not straight on top of each other. So anytime that water comes, or that rain, as it's currently sprinkling right now, it's going to get allowed access to that underlayment. So I'll get this out. Thank you.